Cevo is a small village nestled in the mountains of North Macedonia. It is a peaceful place. People know their neighbors. Life is simple, or so it seemed. In the early 2000s, a darkness fell upon Cevo. 3 elderly women were murdered. Their deaths shocked the village. Fear replaced the peace. The victims were Mitra Simjanosa, Luit Lakosa, and Sazana Tolosa. They were all kind and well-respected. No one could understand why anyone would want to hurt them. The police began to investigate. They had few leads. The villagers were scared and confused. Who could the killer be? Mitra Simjanosa was the first to die. She was a beloved member of her community, known for her kindness and generosity. Her neighbors often spoke of her warm smile and the way she would always lend a helping hand. But in 2005, everything changed. She was 64 years old, living a quiet life in her small village. One day, she vanished without a trace, leaving her family and friends in a state of shock and confusion. In 2005, she vanished from her home. The community rallied together, searching high and low, hoping to find any clue that might lead to her whereabouts. Days turned into weeks, and hope began to fade. Her body was found weeks later, discarded like a piece of trash. The discovery sent shockwaves through the village, shattering the sense of safety they once felt. She had been beaten and strangled, a brutal end to a gentle soul. The police launched an investigation, but leads were scarce, and the case quickly went cold. 2 years later, tragedy struck again. The village was still reeling from Mitra's death when another woman went missing. Luit Lakosa, a 56-year-old woman, disappeared. She was a mother, a sister, and a friend to many. Her disappearance reignited the fear that had begun to subside. Her fate was the same as Mitra's. Her body was discovered in a remote area, showing signs of a violent struggle. Her body was found brutally beaten and stabbed. The villagers were terrified. Whispers of a serial killer began to circulate, and trust in the local authorities waned. The police seemed no closer to finding the killer. Frustration grew as the community demanded answers and justice for the victims. Fear hung heavy in the air. Who would be next? The once lively streets became deserted as people stayed indoors, afraid to venture out alone. Then in 2008, Sazana Tolosa disappeared. She was a well-respected elder in the community, known for her wisdom and gentle nature. She was 65 years old. Her disappearance sent a new wave of panic through the village as people realized the killer was still out there, lurking in the shadows. Her disappearance sparked a new wave of fear. The community was on edge, and the police were under immense pressure to solve the case. The killer was still out there. The village was gripped by a sense of dread, knowing that as long as the murderer remained free, no one was truly safe. Vlatko Taneski was a journalist. He was not just any journalist, but one with a reputation for digging deep into stories that others might overlook. His passion for uncovering the truth and his relentless pursuit of justice made him a respected figure in the field of investigative journalism. He was known for his investigative work. His desk was always cluttered with papers, files, and notes from various sources. Vlatko had a knack for connecting the dots, seeing patterns where others saw chaos. His colleagues often marveled at his ability to piece together complex puzzles. He became interested in the murders in Cevo. The small town had been rocked by a series of brutal killings, and the local community was gripped by fear. Vlatko sensed that there was more to these crimes than met the eye. He began to delve into the details, studying maps, crime scene photos, and police reports. He felt something was wrong. The official narrative didn't add up, and there were inconsistencies in the reports. Vlatko's instincts told him that there was a deeper story waiting to be uncovered. He spent countless hours reviewing documents, looking for clues that might have been missed. Vlatko started to investigate the murders. He interviewed witnesses, spoke to locals, and gathered as much information as he could. His questions were probing, and his determination was unwavering. He was not afraid to challenge the official version of events. He talked to the victims' families. These conversations were often heart-wrenching, as he listened to their stories of loss and despair. Vlatko felt a deep sense of responsibility to these families. He promised them that he would do everything in his power to uncover the truth and bring the perpetrators to justice. He looked into the police investigation. Vlatko scrutinized the work of the local law enforcement, examining their procedures and questioning their conclusions. He found that there were gaps in their investigation, and he began to suspect that there might be a cover-up. The more he learned, the more suspicious he became. Vlatko's research led him to believe that the police were either incompetent or deliberately withholding information. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was a larger conspiracy at play. Vlatko believed the police were not doing enough. He was frustrated by their apparent lack of urgency and their dismissive attitude towards the victims' families. He felt that the authorities were more interested in maintaining their image than in solving the crimes. He began to write articles about the murders. Vlatko used his platform to bring attention to the case, detailing his findings and raising questions about the police investigation. His articles were hard-hitting and unflinching, sparking public outrage and demanding accountability. He criticized the police for their lack of progress. Vlatko's articles were scathing in their critique of the local law enforcement. He accused them of negligence and incompetence, and he called for an independent investigation into the murders. He demanded justice for the victims. Vlatko's writing galvanized the community, leading to protests and public demonstrations. People took to the streets, holding signs and chanting for justice. The pressure on the authorities began to mount. Vlatko's articles made him a target. He received threats. He was followed. The more he pushed for the truth, the more dangerous his work became. Vlatko knew that he was putting himself at risk, but he refused to back down. He was determined to see the investigation through, no matter the cost, but he refused to be silenced. Vlatko's resolve only grew stronger in the face of adversity. He continued to write, to investigate, and to speak out. He knew that the truth was worth fighting for, and he was willing to pay the price. He was determined to find the truth. Vlatko Taneski's journey was one of courage and conviction. His unwavering dedication to justice and his relentless pursuit of the truth made him a beacon of hope for the victims' families and a thorn in the side of those who sought to hide the truth. His story is a testament to the power of journalism and the importance of holding those in power accountable. The killer knew his victims. He used this to gain their trust. He would lure them away with stories. He told them that a family member was in trouble. Once he had them alone, he would attack. He was brutal. He strangled them, stabbed them, and beat them. He left their bodies where they would be found. The killer was careful. He left little evidence. He wanted to make sure he was not caught. He thought he was smarter than the police. Section 5, a web of lies. The killer didn't just rely on brutality, he was cunning. He planted false information. He wanted to mislead the police. He wanted to send them on a wild goose chase. He spread rumors. He made anonymous phone calls. He even wrote fake letters. He was determined to cover his tracks. He enjoyed the game he was playing. The police were confused. The false information muddied the waters. It made their job even harder. The killer was winning. Section 6, justice, or something like it. Vlatko continued his investigation. He refused to give up. He kept digging for the truth. He believed that the police were missing something. Then, in a shocking turn of events, the police made an arrest. The suspect was someone no one expected. It was Vlatko Taneski himself. The police claimed that Vlatko's DNA was found at one of the crime scenes. They believed he was the killer all along. They accused him of using his journalism as a cover. Section 7, a mysterious end. Vlatko denied the charges. He insisted he was innocent. He claimed that the police were framing him. He believed they were angry about his articles. Vlatko's trial was short. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. But he never served a day of his sentence. He died in his cell before he could appeal. The official cause of death was suicide. The police claimed he drowned himself in a bucket of water. But many people believe he was murdered. They believe he was silenced before he could expose the truth. Section 8. Unanswered questions. Vlatko's death left many questions unanswered. Did he really commit the murders, or was he framed? Was he silenced to protect someone else? The truth may never be known. The case remains a mystery. The people of Cevo are left to wonder what really happened. Section 9. Remembering the victims. The murders of Mitra, Luit and Sazania are a tragedy. Their lives were cut short by an act of senseless violence that has left an indelible mark on the hearts of those who knew them. The community of Cevo has been deeply affected, and the pain of their loss is felt by everyone. They were innocent victims of a senseless crime. Mitra, Luit and Sazana were beloved members of their community, known for their kindness, their laughter and their dreams for the future. Their absence is a void that can never be filled, and their memory is cherished by all who knew them. Their deaths left a scar on the village of Cevo. This once peaceful village now carries the weight of this tragedy, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the unpredictability of fate. The streets they once walked are now paths of sorrow, and the places they once visited are now sites of remembrance. The Mr. Ballen Foundation is a beacon of hope for victims of violent crime. In the wake of such a devastating event, the Foundation steps in to offer support, resources and a sense of community to those who are grieving. They work tirelessly to ensure that no one has to face their pain alone. They provide support and resources to help families heal through counseling, support groups and various outreach programs. The Foundation helps families navigate the difficult journey of grief and loss. Their efforts are a testament to the power of compassion and the importance of community in times of crisis. They are a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is still light. The candlelight vigils, the memorial services, and the outpouring of love and support from the community are all symbols of hope and resilience. They show that even in the face of unimaginable tragedy, the human spirit can endure and find ways to honor those we have lost. The memory of Mitra, Luit and Sazana lives on. Their stories, their smiles and their spirits continue to inspire those who knew them and even those who didn't. The memorials and tributes serve as a lasting testament to their lives and the impact they had on their community. They will never be forgotten. The community of Cevo, along with the support of the Mr. Ballen Foundation, ensures that the legacy of Mitra, Luit and Sazana will endure. Their names are etched in the hearts of those who loved them, and their memory will continue to be a source of strength and unity. Their story is a reminder that even in a peaceful village, evil can lurk in the shadows. It is a call to remain vigilant, to cherish every moment and to support one another in time of need. The legacy of Mitra, Luit and Sazana is a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of love and community.